Hey YouTube, what is going on? My name is Anthony. I am going to be today doing the third video in our house hacking series and just kind of covering a little bit of the numbers and why from a financial standpoint this move made sense for us, and then kind of the options. If you haven't watched any of the prior videos, my wife and my family, we moved out of our home, rented that, moved into an apartment that we're currently renting as we get ready to purchase and house hack our first fourplex this summer. So this is just a little bit into that. Now, as far as the reasons for doing it, our next video is actually going to be from more of a personal standpoint. That's why we as a family made this decision, what it means for us, and why it made sense for our family. Again, this is just going to kind of show the numbers as to what it means for us. Honestly, wouldn't get too wrapped up in the numbers. Every home is going to rent for a different amount. Our home actually, since it wasn't intended to be a rental, isn't the best rental it's not a great cash flow rental. It is from an appreciation standpoint, but being a higher end property, it has a lot of additional liabilities with it as a rental. So I get a quick image here. I'll show you the numbers and just kind of cover those here. So here you can see our income and expenses before deciding to rent our home. Now, expenses, that does include not only our monthly bills, but also living expenses for gas and groceries, that sort of thing. And you'll be able to see here that difference increases fourfold after we decide to rent our home. And that is taking into account the rent that we pay at our apartment and the fee we pay our property manager for the home. All right, so this is the big board where we kind of laid out the potential options on how renting out our home and buying our first investment property would go. I do apologize, I'm doing this portion by hand, and I'll just kind of cover the options and then let you know what actually ended up happening and what the rest of that path looks like. So we had our personal home. Obviously, we weren't 100% sure it would rent because we had to charge a bit higher for the rent, being, as I mentioned, a higher end property. So we knew it'd go one way, either rent or sell. The advantage of renting is that it would buy us more time. If you can see in the green sell box, the asterisk is capital gains tax, because at this point we had not been in a home 2 years. So if we were to sell, we would be hit with that. I think it would have been like $15,000 on this home in a capital gains tax. But so we had the two options. We were going to try to rent it out first. Now, we were wanting it rented out at the latest by January 1st, and then we would find our own rental. And again, that would save us on the capital gains tax there, is what you see in the blue box and the green box. If it did not rent out by then we were going to put it on the market in January, hoping to close in February, because that's how properties in our area are moving, just that fast, and then start looking for that new property as of March, when the VA is available again for us. So just kind of rolling through the options here. Down the rent path, either the tenant was most likely going to be in for a 6-month lease or a 1-year lease. 6-month lease gave us a couple options as far as whether we could use the VA loan again, or whether we would have to sell the home first. If you know anything about VA entitlement, every county has a certain amount that you can have under a VA loan, yes, it does mean that you can have 2 properties under a VA loan. For us, we would have had a remainder of about $150K on our entitlement based on the loan we had. Anything you go over that, you pay something, I believe it's 10%. You have to pay 10% of what you go over. So I apologize if I'm misquoting that. If I do, I'll put something in the notes with the video, or put something up on here. But so if we had 150 and we buy a property that's 200K, that additional 50K, we'd have to pay 10% down on that 50K. So those were the two options there. If it went 6 months, then we had the option for a year lease, and the option if we did end up selling. Now, what you'll see on some of this, I'll clarify, you'll see in several places where it'll say move into barn. What that is we have I have a brother-in-law who has a property on a lot of land with an apartment and a barn that we would have used in that situation. Now, what actually ended up happening was we were able to rent out, as I mentioned in the last video, as of get it rented by the 1st. Initially, they were going to do a year lease, but then a last minute asked to go to 6 month because they're, I believe, looking to buy or build in the area where, in the community where our home is. So with that being the case, this path here in green is basically what we're looking to pursue, meaning that we've got them in for the 6-month lease. We've now, that first step there is to move into the rental for 6 months, which we're in the process of now. Then come July, either to sell or refinance, which would be a cash out refinance on our home. At that point, we'd have a couple options because our home would no longer be under the VA loan, regardless of which of those two we would do. So at that point, we'd have full access to the VA loan. And when you have full access to the VA loan, there's actually no limit on how much you can spend. As I mentioned before, there's the VA entitlement that applies if you look to purchase a second property with the VA loan. But for the very first property, there's actually no limit on the loan you can use. So we would at that point look at purchasing a larger rental such as a fourplex. Now, if we did, I have a little note there that if we did refinance, that we need to get a new tenant in there most likely before they would allow us to refinance. Got that nice little red annotation there that officially puts me in a position where I'm okay to leave my job. And then at that point, we'd look at, after getting this fourplex, using a conventional loan sometime around December on a single family home property, which would just be 10% down, and hopefully we'd have enough financial history for that. And then going into, after that, an FHA loan in October of the following year to get back into our own personal home. So we would essentially be house hacking the fourplex. Now the conventional loan, I'm not sure if we need to or not, but we'd have the ability or the option to house hack that if we wanted before getting back into our personal home. So that was where we ended up on the big board of options we laid out here. But this always kept things in perspective for us. And as things changed, or as we got more information, or as we learned more about loans, it was easy to adjust, at least for me, easier for me to adjust this on the fly and adjust our plan so that it would make sense going forward, versus when you get some new information and now you're trying to figure out how this affects everything. It's easier for me when I have it up on the board and I can just kind of toss it all, or in this case with dry erase, kind of erase and fill in what I need to and update where it's needed. So there you go. Again, just a quick look at the financials for us and what that looked like as far as renting out our home and moving into an apartment, as well as kind of the big board that we put together of options before any of this or any of these pieces actually started, just so we could be prepared and be able to adjust as needed based on what came our way or what type of tenant we got or any new information that may have changed some of these plans. We actually did end up focusing in more on a fourplex as we found that to be very advantageous. We live in a market that rental prices are ridiculous, one of the hottest markets in the country. So duplexes aren't cheap here, and it's very competitive. But there's an advantage with a fourplex and the VA loan that we noticed. So that'll probably be another video we throw on here, why we are kind of honing in on the fourplex over other multi-unit type of properties. But yeah, just a quick look at the layout and kind of what we were thinking, what we were preparing for, and it actually did help and come in handy. I know people hate like planning or laying things out. Why would you make a plan that's probably going to fail? I always felt like it better prepares you. A plan isn't what's going to 100% happen, but if that's 75% of what happens, that means you're prepared for 75% of it. So anyway, again, just wanted to share that quick. Hope that was helpful. And have any questions, feel free to throw them in the comments. And again, we'll keep this series rolling with the 2 videos I've mentioned that'll be coming up here eventually, hopefully sooner than later. Well, anyway, hope you have a good one. Hope you had a great MLK Day, and hope 2021 is working out better than 2020 did for you.